the Baen Free Radio Hour.
Hello and welcome to the Baen Free Radio Hour. Today, Jeremy Comeaux interviews editor-author Jakub Mařík and series creator Larry Correia on the truly international anthology, Monster Hunter Fantom.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode. I am your host, Jeremy Comeaux. That is enough about me. I'm not why you came here. So let's talk to our two illustrious guests. First man needs no introduction, but I'm going to do it anyway. It's Larry Correia, the creator of Monster Hunter, and Mr. Jakub Mařík. Am I saying your name right?
No chance to say it right. We are on the nation uses this sound, so Mařík.
Mařík. Okay, awesome. So we are here to talk about Monster Hunter Fantom, and I've had a chance to read it, and it's an anthology. Very good. Now, Larry, unfortunately, I have not read any other Monster Hunter books, but because of this anthology, I will be rectifying that. I will be fixing that very, very quickly, because this anthology, and I'm here to tell you, you don't have to read everything else to enjoy this anthology. It's going to help. You're going to probably enjoy it a little bit more, but if this is your first, toe into the lake of Monster Hunter, you'll be fine. I didn't feel lost at any time, and I know there's translations involved. Did not come across as a translated book. Very well done, and that's enough from me gushing. I'm gonna let y'all talk about it. One of the first things is, how did this come about? How did this project come about?
Well, you want to tell it, Jakub? You want to tell them the story, or should I?
Well, first it was Martin, the second part of our duo, who came with this idea, because Larry's books are quite popular here.
Mm-hmm.
He's close to a specific genre, action school. It's a splatterpunk, but Larry book hit the right spot. I translated him from the book 2, and every book has popular. People are asking about new. Every time where this is annual plan of release, it's always will be new Monster Hunters, So Martin came with the idea. We have authors with similar style. Let's try book from this world. So we asked Larry, because we were nice on Larry when he was here on visit. He said yes, and main thing was done.
From my perspective, it was kind of fun. So I got to meet Martin and Jakub and a bunch of the other guys from Fantom when I was in Prague visiting and doing some book signings there, and had a great time, wonderful time. They were my tour guides, took me around the city. We had a great time, me and my wife, and it was some of the best book signings I've ever been to. There was just a hoot. A lot of people having a good time. We didn't speak a word of the language except for like "excuse me" and "thank you." And but afterwards, I actually added to Monster Hunter Siege. I added a Czech Monster Hunter company, and I called it Fantom after the publishing house that does the Monster Hunter translations in Czechia. And so these guys thought that was awesome, and then they approached me later. Martin, I think it's Martin's idea, and they wanted to do a collection of short stories by Czech authors set there using Czech folklore, Czech monsters, Czech hunters, but in the Monster Hunter universe. And I was honored, and so they originally wrote that in Czech, and there was no English translation. But I started talking about it, that this was happening, because very few authors ever get anything like this of their work done in a foreign language by authors in their native country. And so all the American fans were like, what the hell? When do we get to read it? So by popular demand, we've now done an English translation of the originally in Czech version of a bunch of stories about an American franchise.
That's awesome. Yeah, it usually doesn't go that way. Usually it's the other way around.
I don't know of anybody else that has anything like this that I can think of off the top of my head.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty wild.
So who did the translation to English? Same company or?
It was
Or
actually me.
you did. Well, you did a fantastic job, sir, because it doesn't lose anything. It's a very easy read.
I have to give credit to my editor Alexandra because it was first time for me translating into the English.
Mhm.
I'm translating from English for the Ds, but it's completely different things.
Mhm.
As I always say, translating is like 40% knowledge of foreign English and 60 of your own language.
Mhm.
And suddenly I have to do it opposite. It was scary.
It came out really good.
It did.
Like when you're reading the stories, it's extremely well written in English, and there'll be moments where you'll have like a turn of phrase that will remind you that it's a translation, just because there's something that's not quite the same.
Mhm.
But honestly, that just kind of makes it fun because it's kind of a reminder that no, this wasn't originally in English, and no, Jakub did a fantastic job
Yeah.
on the translation.
Thanks.
Yeah, and
It's really good.
it kind of reminded me. It's not the same genre or anything, but like whenever I would read like Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, and that's translated into English. It's like you were saying, it's fun because you're through this fictional novel, you're learning a little bit more about where it comes from. Whether it's their politics or the cities or how things are run there, how their social programs are run there, and I kind of got that here where the it was fun to hear about the local stories about monsters and hearing about Prague and things like that. So it just it gives it that European vibe, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it was our condition to use Slavic Czech monsters.
Hmm.
When we sent prepositions, there was no zombies, no werewolves, no vampires. Only a quick mention.
Yeah.
We need Czech ones.
Mhm.
Yeah, what was part of the problem, like logistically for me, was having this as be part of my universe. Is normally when I have somebody write, because we had a bunch of writers write in the Monster Hunter universe now, but they've all been in English, which I can read and edit, and so I could say, no, you can't do that, or no, you can't touch that, or that's already been done somewhere else. This way, you can't violate kind of the canon. With this, though, I couldn't edit it.
Yes, this was my work this time.
Yeah, because there's no way in the world I could. He'd have to translate it into English and then have me edit it, and then
Oh yeah, that's a lot of
retranslate
work.
it back. There's no way that's going to happen.
Yeah, that's a lot of work.
So that was one of the things. So it was very much. It was like, so it's set there. It uses monsters from there and legends from there. I love reading through it, like all the little cultural bits
Hmm.
that make it fun. It's like stuff that the American audience wouldn't know, but just like reading through like little cultural bits. Like there's I think it's actually your story, Jakub, where everybody's mad at the techno band out in the woods.
Yes. Acast.
Yeah, because there was the techno band out in the woods making too much, and they go out there and it's actually the Finnish metal guys, and there was just all these little cultural bits, and honestly, it was great. I loved some of this stuff. There was the other one where I'm just trying to think. So they had like little bits of like the government, like your corrupt ministers and your crappy agencies, and
Probably Vodnik, first one. Homecoming.
Mhm.
yep.
Mhm.
Author is a lawyer studied, so he was happy to use the bureaucratic part and introduce readers to the world by showing how everyone is awful.
Yeah, and it was like they had the little like lawyer up at the end there. That one. No, I thought those little bits were great. The very last story had the girl who was very eco-friendly, proper European eco-friendly,
Hmm.
until she decided not to be, and teamed up with the loggers.
Yeah, it wasn't convenient anymore.
That one was great. So there's all these little bits of cultural stuff that was different than what we're used to
Yeah,
on for my American audience. But I thought they made the stories fun. I had a lot of fun with those.
yeah. I'll have to agree on that. It's just even though it read the English read very, very well, it just kind of takes you out of your everyday and brings you to a different country, and a great combination of old world and new world. And I mean, would you classify this as urban fantasy? Yes, or well, it's a couple things, but
In America, we get lumped in urban fantasy.
yeah.
I like the term contemporary fantasy just because it's
Hmm.
just because we have a lot of stories, and I have a lot of stories. Like most MHA takes place in rural Alabama, which is very country.
Hmm.
Um, and some of the stories in this book take place in the city, and some of them take place in small towns, and some of them take place out in the wilderness.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I kind of hate urban fantasy, but that's where we get lumped on genres.
Yeah,
And the bad thing is we get lumped in there with all the paranormal romance stuff that kicks our butts in the
yeah,
sales.
yeah. Man, that romance is kicking everybody's butt.
Oh, you can't compete with if you wind up in the same genre as the romance stuff. You are dead meat. If you're in the top 400, you're doing good.
Yeah, yeah. Because I'll go into my library that I use, and I'm looking for urban fantasy, contemporary fantasy, all that stuff, and I have to double check every single one that's popular because it's gonna be a romance, which romance is fine as a subcategory, but I don't want to go head deep into it.
It's
Uh,
big. It's
oh
way
yeah.
bigger than us.
Yeah, but
Huge.
I love for using your term, I love contemporary fantasy because I'm lazy. I don't want to have to I don't want to have to do charts and maps and all this thing to learn an epic fantasy thing where urban fantasy. Oh, that's a city. That's an actual city. They're using words I already know. Thank you very much.
And this one uses places like the headquarters of the company is Ostrava, which is a town in Czechia, and I use that because that's where the publisher is from, and
Mhm.
that just was fun.
Exactly. A logical place.
Yeah, it was just logical to me,
That
which is
great.
funny because then you guys added in like the part where the Prague people don't like the Ostrava people, and the Ostrava people don't like the Prague people, and no one
And we
respects.
all making fun for Brno.
Yeah, and everybody makes fun of Bruno. It's the biggest town where nothing ever happens.
Yeah. Second largest town and largest village in the Czech Republic.
Yeah, actually, that one where they had the former Bruno hunters. I can't remember which name of it. There's too many story names. I can't really keep track of them. But they have they basically shut down the Bruno office for a year because nothing happens, and then they have to bring him back. That's a good story. That one was fun. No, honestly, I really like the location of it, getting into like just the differences, and that was a lot of fun because it's a location. I've only been there once for like 5 days, and so my knowledge of the country is extremely limited. I mean, it's super cool though for anybody listening to this who's an American who hasn't visited the Czech Republic. It's cool. It's a cool place. And the people are actually really, as far as visiting Europe goes, the people are remarkably cool because they have a very American sense of humor. I
Okay.
found, yeah, I got along great there. I had an awesome time.
How long did you
Uh,
spend up there?
What?
How long did you spend up there?
Like 5 or 6 days, I think, was all. So we barely got to see anything, but it was a hoot.
oh, we see military museum. It was most important part, no? With
Oh,
guns you don't know.
oh man, so getting to play with because the Czechs make fantastic guns. Like
Oh.
historically, they make fantastic guns, and I'm a gun guy. So we did go to the museum, and that was awesome because they had all the prototypes, and half of which I knew. I basically I was acting like I was Ian McCullum from Forgotten Weapons. on the tour, and that was the one part of the tour where I was the tour guide.
I think Gart check us like 4 times because we never hear so many wow in so short time. So he always came like, oh, what's going on here? People are using silence here.
Oh gosh, yeah, they're like, oh wow, this. And I got the same thing on that when I was in England. I was at the Tower of London where they had the artillery, and that's just big guns, right? And I still know that. I love this stuff. So I'm going through and I start talking about this stuff to my wife as we're going through. And one of the guards is a former artilleryman, British Army, hears me and he's like, whoa, you know this stuff? And I was like, oh, a little bit. It's like, I'm small arms, but I love this stuff. And he's like, hey, you're cool. Come back here. So I got to go behind the thing, and we're walking around behind the thing, and he's showing me all the cool stuff. We're talking, I'm touching, 500-year-old cannons, and this British kid comes by and like reaches over the rope and touches something, and the guard just yells at him, like, get back on the other side of that. He's like, get out of here, dumbass. He's like, yells at the kid. And he's like, whoa. He's like, but the big American's touching it. And he looks at me and goes, yeah, but he's cool. So I just go to foreign countries and find where the gun nuts are.
Yeah. You gotta have good stories and know some stuff. Now, what did you get to shoot while you were there?
No time for that.
Okay.
Sadly, I'll have to try that. I'll have to try that next time.
Well, I mean, you shoot a lot at home, though, right?
Yeah, I actually have a range at my house, so I have a range right outside here.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, except it's like 4 degrees and snowing, so not today.
Yeah, we got that too. We're here on the East Coast. So did you? And I know it's hard to pick favorites, so I'm not going to say stories. Not a favorite story, but did either one of you have a favorite monster that came out of this?
Okay, my favorite monster is probably one Larry used. It's a bulletproof monster. I use it also in one of my short stories, Older. This is a relatively modern monster from 30s war, whose main ability is it's bulletproof. You shoot it, bullets splash, he show it to you and look at you. You are stupid, you shoot at me, you are dead now. So I know this is perfect monster for Larry.
Yeah, so when we were talking about it, I wanted to use a Czech monster for mine, and you suggested that his name literally is bulletproof, is the name of the monster. And I was like, oh, that's rad. That's rad. Yeah, let's see. Okay, in this, let's see. The Leshen was weird and messed up. There's a story with a Leshen in it, which is like a cursed cross between a human and a tree. Mm-hmm. But I'm not talking like an ant. I'm talking more like a mutant. That was messed up. What's the name of the water spirit with the tadpoles?
Vodnik. Hasterman or Vodnik.
That was gross. That one was gross.
You used one Vodnik in Siege?
I did, yeah. I went with the frog. I went with the frog one, and they went with the sexy chick / tadpole baby one. That was messed up. I read that scene and I was like, "Oh, that's gross." Plus, as a writer, as I was reading it, I was like, "Oh, I know where they're going with this." I was like, "This is turning into Piranha, right?" And it was pretty badass. That was great. The little gremlin was pretty cool. The gremlin was the cool. I like the gremlin. What was it? Oh, he was a print gremlin.
Printing gremlin, yes.
Yeah, hates ebooks. Oh, that's one cool thing about the book that they did add. I thought this was very neat. So at the end, there is actually a glossary, or I'm sorry, bestiary.
Yes.
Of Czech folklore monsters.
This was bonus for US edition because we know our monsters. We don't need explanation, but
yeah.
The
rest of
us fair to you.
That's like if somebody tried to tell us about vampires and werewolves. It's like, oh, we're good.
Well, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but the Hayek is that what it is? Hayek?
Heck.
Hey.
Hey, Cal.
Hey cow. Yeah, I like those. That was a cool monster. And that's not what I'd heard of before. And it was just kind of a cool. That was actually a cool fight scene you had there. Like that was a cool fight scene. The monsters played it pretty smart, and they were just cool monsters. Like I like that one. But the hey, I won't give too many spoilers away. But that was clever, and those are cool monsters. I like that one a lot. So I'm like a total nerd. I mean, because part of my job is learning about folklore and monsters from around the world, so I can mine them for entertainment value. And there was a bunch of things in this that I was not familiar with, and I had not heard of. Things like, the weird. Jakub, what was the weird barrel? It was it had like duck feet barrel and like a lamprey mouth.
This is Mura. Nightmare.
Mura.
Nightmare English.
That thing was that was weird. And then they got to the scene where you find like where they live. I don't want to give too much away, but that went from like, okay, this is a creepy kind of, parasitic monster thing. But then you get to where they live and you're like, whoa, that is messed up. It went from like monster killing to like horror movie when it got to where it lived.
Yeah.
Without giving too much away, when I was reading that scene, I was like, oh, that's gross. That's nasty. I wish I would have thought of that.
And the description of that monster is real. It's really from one Chronicles author find. But it's monster with 101 shapes and forms. So he logically chose the most bizarre one.
Yeah, that was rad. That one was cool. I like that. I like that one a lot. And that was one of those. I know it's good when it's a monster that I'm like, man, I wish I would have thought of that monster. I could have like totally used that in something. And there was several in here that I was like, as the monster guy, I was jealous. I'm like, oh, that's a good monster.
So there was one story in particular that was really dark. I know it's a monster book. It's supposed to be dark. The second one, I think it was Homecoming. Yeah. That one started out really, really dark.
That's the one with the tadpoles.
Yeah. That whole story, that one, I knew I was in for good stuff. I mean, from the beginning, it was good. But for some reason, that story really, really grabbed me. And I was like, oh, damn, this is dark. And it's like, I'm going to have fun with this.
And from Czech viewpoint, it's light gray. Well.
Oh, man.
Well, so that's kind of what I wanted to get into is coming, from Czech writers and stuff like that. Do y'all tend to go a little darker than we do on average, or how would you say that?
Sometimes yes, but not so much as Poles or Russians.
Mm-hmm.
We are middle ground.
Mm-hmm.
We just have to tone down splatterpunk part because I know Larry's kids read his book. And if he unleash, for example, František Kotleta, I think he will hide this book from his son till he's 30.
Yeah, there was a few parts where it started going a certain direction. I was like, uh-oh. I was like, I don't know, man. Because my American audience is used to like rated R for violence, like on the American movie scale, we're like rated R for violence, like PG-13 for sex,
Mm-hmm.
And there was a few parts I was like, uh-oh. Okay. And so I guess I was editorial directions like, guys, the Americans are kind of squishy.
I used your son as argument many times. Larry's kid will read it.
Yeah, it's good to
Tone
have a lot of kids
down.
Because my youngest is 13, so I'm still in that window. That excuse will go away here, because most of my kids are adults now.
Mm-hmm.
So that excuse doesn't really matter anymore. But I got a few more years I can get out of this last one.
Yeah, but that one. So I agree with you. That one. If I had to pick one that kind of stood out to me, that one stood out for me. That particular, at least, especially the beginning of that story, which I'm not going to spoil, but the beginning of that story sucked
Yeah,
me in pretty good.
yeah. It made the monsters pretty horrifying. Like it made
Hmm.
them. I mean, like genuine. Like these aren't kindly and misunderstood. These are evil predators,
Hmm.
and they're going to eat you, and they're going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And they are part of popular Czech fairy tales, vodníks. We Czech use darker version.
Yeah, it was rad though. That was a good one. Yeah, that was the tadpole one I was talking about, and
Yeah.
yeah, there's a little bit of that very first opening scene. This like with the chef and one of the things the chef cooks.
Hmm.
That like yeah, I'm not going to give any spoilers, but
It's a
like
wee bit dark.
I was like, damn.
Um, so let's get in. Since we have you two guys and y'all wrote stories in the book, let's talk about your individual stories. You know, no hard spoilers, but just kind of give people a taste of what they're in for.
All right, you go first, Jacob.
Okay, I try. Well, my is probably most Larry style. Many people mention it in reviews that because group of hunters, mysterious murder, we are chasing monster, and of course, problem will be much worse than it looks like. So classical, how to say it? Lot of guns, lot of monsters, and minimum survive monsters at the end. Hard to say without spoiling this one.
Yeah, yeah. I also reading your story. I enjoy the pop culture references and or just cultural references in general, and just enough funny, but not not like over the top because it's a monster thing. But I really well actually the entire anthology is kind of like that to where you can tell people are having fun with it. That it's not we're not just here for gore and violence and everything. We're telling you a story, and that really came through for me.
Yes, this is firm part of Czech action school humor. Without it, you would see here serious butterpunk. Never.
Yes, yes.
The opening murder scene of yours was really good. I really like that with the bit with the phone. And not to give too many spoilers, but that was clever. Like when I read that, I was like, oh yeah, that's clever. That's a cool way to do it, and just how you described it, and because you switched perspectives in this one, and how you described that opening scene was actually like I really like that quite a bit. You killed it on that one, I thought.
Thanks.
And then they find the phone later, and what was some of the line is like it was like so scratched up it's like worth pennies now or whatever.
This is Alexandra part. This was Alexandra idea how to translate this one.
Oh, that was perfect because it was like something thought this was shiny and fun to play with, and then it got bored. Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, and so I like yours quite a bit, and like I like the monsters in that one. I thought the monsters were I thought those were pretty cool monsters. I genuinely like that the fight scene, the fight sequence in that one. I enjoyed quite a bit. It was really good.
All right, Larry. How would you describe your story?
It's funny because mine's the shortest, which is funny because it's good. That's good though because it's not. This one's not about me.
Right.
No, so I wanted to do Owen Pitt because that's kind of like the main character that everybody's familiar with, the main narrator character,
Mhm.
and he is part Czech. That's been established since book one. That's where his mom is from, and so I have him visiting for some family business, and he just has an encounter with the monster. And when I was trying to come up with the Czech monsters, when Jakub, when we were emailing back and forth to begin, he suggested the Fext, I think of Kugelfext or Klugelfext. I'm not sure how to say that. Bulletproof.
Mhm.
And the whole idea was it's just like, because where the legend came from, so we looked it up, and where the legend came from was back in like the 30 Years' War. There would be these guys on the battlefield that just would survive the unsurvivable. And they were like German soldiers, and they would get shot and not die, and over again. But the legend was the only way you could kill them was glass. You could hit them with a glass bullet, but regular bullets just bounced off them. And so I don't even resolve it. It's just like I said, it's a short little story where Owen basically sees somebody who's in need of killing while he's on vacation. So he calls up the guys from Fantom because, he's a foreigner. He can't just go around killing cultists in a foreign city. That's a great way to go to prison. Which he's calling Fantom, so he's talking to Libor, the boss, and he tells him, he's like, I don't think I can just like randomly kill cultists here and not go to prison. And Libor's like, oh, you've been in worse prisons. It's fine. And it's like, can I be like a temporary employee? He's like, oh yeah, you're a temporary employee now. Carry on. And but then winds up fighting the Kugelfext. And the chandelier shop is actually an inside joke because while we were in Prague, my wife bought like a $6,000 chandelier that we have in our house because they have like some of the world's finest chandelier glasswork.
Mhm.
And that was a long time ago. I don't know what it's worth now. But so she bought this giant chandelier. And so I basically used that as a murder weapon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that was that was a bit of an inside joke for me because I have this giant chandelier in my house because of this trip to Prague.
I love this is one of the reasons why I love doing these interviews is because we get the behind the scenes stuff and the fun stuff, where if you just read the book, you're not gonna know, so but now I'm gonna put you on the spot and you can abstain from answering, but we talked about your favorite monsters. Do you have a favorite story other than your own?
Oh, I don't like to dance.
Hard one.
Yeah, okay, I get it. I like to ask in case somebody will answer, but
Well, anytime I'm an editor, and I'm not. I mean, like I said, and I don't know. So Martin and Jakub are the editors on this one, but
Mhm.
being my universe. So anytime I'm like the guy, I don't want to call out anybody and make anybody else feel bad.
yeah,
Because honestly, I enjoyed the hell out of them. And
it was great.
there's some that stand out, but I don't want to be like, oh, this one's the best and this one sucks. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No.
I hate doing that on anthologies that I'm in.
For reference, none of them suck. They were all great. I enjoy like I'm new to this universe, and it didn't matter. It was great. And to go back to the fun part, you could tell people had fun with this because even the forward was fun. When they wrote the forward, some of the stuff that was in the forward is like just little fun things. So read the whole thing. Don't skip anything.
Well, like they all use Martin as like a weird techno dude. It's like a recurring weird techno weirdo,
Yeah.
Walking
so
in nuclear power plant, actually.
Yeah. I mean, he was a nuke guy. I don't know, Jakub. Did you have a favorite one that you want to call out?
Safely would we probably say Martin's part, but
the opening.
Yeah.
but I can say that I have a special relation with apparitions, the one with skeleton, because it's new kind of hell to translate all this sound he invented for this story.
Oh yeah.
How to translate sound to English? I told him he smiles, so I hate him. But this left special mark on me. This part.
That's such a challenge, man. And something me and Jakub have talked about over the years on translating books is English is filled with idioms. We love our idioms. We don't even realize how much we use them. constantly. We use them in our writing. And Jakub would email me on a book. He's like, we don't have an equivalent to this. So like, we've got this and we've got this and we've got this. What are you going for? And I would tell him like that one. Just because we English is just lousy with them. We have so many idioms that, you know, the whole 9 yards and all these little things that mean absolutely nothing to the rest of the world.
I still remember your dollar ends here. You take American idiom, make fun of this idiom, twisted it to another thing, and I can't skip it because it had meaning for the story.
I know.
This was cruel.
It's not even like we use idioms. We like use idioms and then twist idioms. So it's like we have no basis in Czech, and now you need to come up with like a twist on the idiom that doesn't exist.
But of course, you show me there is even worse thing than idioms. Like there's that song about negotiating new price in Bloodlines. I just translated. This was great work. This was translated correctly.
Yeah, it's like the convoy song. You don't have the convoy song in Czech. You know, it's like little jokes and stuff like that. But yeah, so I tell you, translating, I don't envy you. That is a hard job, man. That is like creatively challenging.
It can be fun. It can be hell.
And nowadays, some people try to get away with like the AI translate, and it doesn't work. You need people who know the language.
Czech is still too complicated for this. I tried, and I tried some part of Fantom. If it is my work, it didn't.
Yeah,
probably just made it harder.
I think it's Monster Polednice, Night Ride. It's Polednice in Czech. It translates me as cop because it was close to policeman. I look at it and where did this came from? Why is there a cop in this story?
We had so like when we were in Europe, we'd go to a different country and like we'd stop by the bookstores, I'd be signing books anyway. But I would look up the little, I'd grab whatever the language book was, like the helpful phrases, basics. So it's like, here's the basics of French, here's the basics of German, and the books are this thick, right? And I was in the Czech bookstore and I got the basics of Czech. It was this thick.
First part of 10.
And that was like, it's like conversational basic Czech is like the book is this thick, and it's like
volume 1.
yeah, and it's like okay, I'm pretty. So I was really glad I have these guys to hang out with while we were there to keep us from just getting hopelessly lost. And
that's awesome. So obviously your books are very popular in Czech, but and all over the world. Would you do this kind of project again?
Yeah, actually, these guys just emailed me about doing it again. I'm doing a second one of these, which I need to talk to Tony Weisskopf and make sure she's cool with, because I think that'd be fun. So yeah, and actually I have another one that is in the works, which I can't give too much away about, but we want to do another collection of Monster Hunter stories from authors from a specific region. I'll just say that. And so I can't give too much away, but I was approached by an author who lives lives there, and said we would love to do this. And I have about 10 different authors who are fans, who are interested, and so we're putting together something on that currently. I can't give any details about that, but that would be really fun. So it'd be this. So we'd have Fantom in the Czech Republic, and then something else on a different continent that I can't give too much away about it. Which would, if this works out, it would actually be really cool. And I don't know any other author that's had an opportunity to do like wacky stuff like that. That's just fun.
It is fun. Jakub, when y'all came to Larry with this idea, did you already have your authors in mind? Did you already have them collected, or did you have to go hunting for them?
We have some tapes, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously me.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good start. Then we have like 4. Others choose.
Mm-hmm.
We want some women. This was harder because Splatterpunk we don't have many one. One author, I will not name him, but he gets there because we were discussing Fantom on Comic-Con with author who have the Headless Night story, Ozam. And this said author stand behind us with sad eyes like puppy behind the wind freeze. No. So we say, okay, do you want to be part of it? Yes. And his story is great.
Yeah.
So you need to stick with interesting women, people on cons, and you never know what will happen.
Yeah.
Killing an anthology is always fun. It's always weird. And no, I thought you guys killed it. Usually an anthology will have like 1 or 2 standout stories. Most of them will be kind of in the middle, and then there'll be a couple dogs. That's just kind of the nature of most anthology collections.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, I didn't feel that way about this. I thought everything came out really good. And
no, it was very strong.
The talent pool you guys rounded up was solid. And my hopes is like having this now in English. I hope it adds, it gets some exposure and some fame to some of these authors, and it gets their name out there more. I think that would be fantastic if that happens.
Well, after reading it, I went and looked them all up, and I'm trying to find English versions of their books now because I did like these stories.
Unfortunately, only single one of them have published in small Hawaiian. Cyberpunk is his name. František Kotleta, the last story with Leshen. He's the only one who have English book.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No,
let's see. So, yeah, and so did František? Is that Kotleta?
František Kotleta, yes.
Okay,
it's pseudonym.
So for the American audience, it's Kotleta on Amazon.
So also, what I would be interested in is the darker version of it, because these are pretty dark. But before you got edited for Larry's Kids,
I'm just gonna blame my kids.
Yeah, I'd like the darker side, or maybe I don't. I don't know, but you never know until you read it. But I would be excited to see another project like this, both in the Czech and then the other one that you have going on. The other one, is it going to be similar, like local folklore type stuff?
Yeah, so same thing. So same general principle. It's authors from that area using folklore and monsters and myth from that same area. Advantage I do have on this is that about half of them will be in English. So I can actually look at the beginning because English is fairly common. It's multiple countries, but most of them I'd say probably. Well, I don't know. I actually don't know the stats on this, but I'm guessing about half the stories will probably be in English as the base. So we'll see. Though I've actually got to email some people on this. It's business. Business is weird.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to ever say anything. I can't say too much before contracts are signed. But there is a possibility of another one, which would be really cool. And then doing a second one with these guys, they email me about that, and I said I got to bounce it off Tony. And actually, this is a good time to bounce it off, for considering this is coming out in paperback this week.
Yes. Yeah. And so, Larry, for the uninitiated, so with the anthology, it was local Czech monsters. When you create your monsters, and you have a lot of books in this series, are you going with a lot of the monsters that we know here in the U.S., or are you just making them up wholesale, or how do you go about that?
Depends. I do both because there's a lot of books, 8 books in the regular series, and then like 4 spinoffs now. So some of them are from folklore, some are made up. I mean, obviously, I've hit all the big major ones. Like the big movie. Your trinity of like vampires, zombie, mummies, werewolves. I mean, I've hit those. And then I try to always use more obscure stuff, and I try to use mythological creatures, and some stuff I just make up. And it just kind of depends. And the cool thing is, it's such a big, wide world, and there's so much stuff out there that, like, if I make stuff up, people don't usually know because they just assume that there's a myth somewhere about this, and they'll go to try to look it up later and not be able to find it, which is cool. That means I've done my job.
Yeah.
So a little bit of everything. When you get this many books, you got to kind of like scrape the barrel of monsters because there's so much stuff out there. So I that's actually one of my favorite parts of the Monster Hunter universe. Is it's so big and kind of all encompassing. So it's kind of a global, worldwide thing where they just bounce around the world and all run into all this weird stuff. And I can bring in like all this weird fairy tale stuff, and it's fun. Movie monsters, a little bit of Tolkien. Heck, I mean, I come up with like pretty much everything, but then every country's got myths and legends, and with this we've seen like in the bestiary, they'll have just on the Czech Republic, which is not a very big country, but they'll have like 6 different subcategories of one kind of monster, depending on what town you're from, And so, honestly, the sky's the limit, and I love it. I can make up all sorts of cool stuff. It's a hoot. It's a blast.
Well, you must be doing something right.
People enjoy it.
Yeah. So speaking of, what's up next for you guys? What do y'all have anything coming out in addition to this?
My next, let's see. So I've got my next book coming out is progression fantasy called Academy of Outcasts, and that'll be out in October. That's a new series. It's kind of a fun action adventure. Kid from the elemental plane of fire trying to make it as a wizard in the big city. So that's my next thing.
Right. Jakub, you got anything coming up besides editing?
Well, I just finished my science fiction military series. It was 6 books. Last was published in November. So right now I'm preparing new series, and I'm doing one book in shared universe. It's much darker urban fantasy than this, and depending on what Tony says, I will start preparing the Fantom 2 because we have a different format for this one, and I have to make data for the new authors. So it will be a lot of work.
Yeah. Well, I hope it comes through because I thoroughly enjoyed this anthology, and and I'm usually I enjoy anthologies, but like you said, Larry, there's usually strong stories, and then maybe 1 or 2, maybe not so much. But this was a strong anthology all the way through, and it's really, like I said, I will rectify the fact that I haven't read this series.
Well, I hope you like them.
I'm sure I will because I enjoyed this. So, where can people find you, either online or out in the world?
My blog is monsterhunternation.com, and I'm on all the social medias under my own name. But if you want to just have book-related stuff, sign up for my newsletter on the blog, and we don't spam you. It's just whenever new books are coming out or new stuff is coming out, we'll send you an email. Because my social media is pretty political, and if you're easily butthurt, probably not for you. But it's Correia45 on Twitter or Larry Correia on Facebook. And that's the best way to get a hold of me.
Yeah, it's only if they come at you, right?
I'm like Dexter with serial killers. If you wind up on my table, there's a reason.
Yeah. That's what I thought. Are you still doing Writer Dojo?
Yeah, we're on hiatus we're taking 3 months off because Steve's day job is killing him. He's got a big corporate, big brain job. And they just like bought another company. with another boy. He's getting steamrolled. He's getting his butt kicked. He's one of their main number crunchers. So we've taken a couple months off, but we did just interview Critical Drinker. And so we had a special episode out of season there just for Critical Drinker because he's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
And but we'll be coming back in a couple months.
Yeah.
So looking forward to that.
And
I actually kind of miss it.
Yeah. No, I was listening to it for a while there. Do you have any public appearances coming up or anything like that?
No, I just had some last week, and actually I am clear for a while. Thank goodness.
And Jakub, where can they find you?
I'm kinda invisible on social network. One book per year, so I don't have many reasons to start my own page. But you have Larry. He is everywhere. So
I'm big and loud.
Yeah. Well, gentlemen, this was an absolute pleasure. I appreciate y'all letting me talk to you for almost an hour. And hopefully we'll get to do it again when part 2 comes out. And I'll have a few more Monster Hunter books under my belt by that point. And but it's been a pleasure. It was a pleasure to read. I can tell y'all have fun with it. And everybody go out and buy. Is it for pre-order right now?
By the time this airs, it should be available on Amazon. Yeah,
okay.
They should be. I think it's shipping right this week. So.
All right. Well, if you're watching this, if you're watching this and you haven't bought it, press pause. Go buy it. Come back. We'll still be here.
Also, audio is on audio and ebook, and I have not listened to the audio yet.
Oh, you're speaking my language there. That's how I like them. All right. Who do you know who did the audio?
I don't actually.
No. All right.
I'm not sure. Let me take a look. I know it's like great editing here.
Stephen Ertorn.
Okay. Stephen Ertorn.
And I say he fight valiantly with our pronunciation.
Yeah, Stephen Ertorn. Yeah, no idea.
Okay.
On that one. So.
Well, go look for it in both versions, whichever one you like. I'm an audiophile. I tend to like the audiobooks. I like the information to come to me. Like I said earlier, I'm lazy, so gentlemen, it's been fun. I really appreciate y'all coming on. Like I said earlier, y'all, it's obvious y'all have fun with this, and it's gross and it's exciting, and people get shot and other things.
Oh, yeah.
But good stories. You'll have fun reading it.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
All right. Till next time. Thank y'all very much.
This has been the Bane Free Radio Hour. Thanks for joining us at the heart of science fiction. Join us next week when I interview James L. Cambias on The Miranda Conspiracy, the third book in a series full of big idea SF, The Billion Worlds. Score by Ruth Judkowitz.